Now, this might be a controversial topic, but I don't think we should necessarily aim for work-life balance. Let me explain. So, ever since high school, I've always struggled with the concept of work-life balance because if I have a goal or something that I really want to achieve, then I tend to fixate on that thing and really work hard on it, which means that it will naturally lead to me working more than I am having fun, let's say. And so I'm not saying that's a great thing because it has led to multiple burnouts at this point. But what I've learned from all these years of trying to maintain work-life balance but failing is that maybe the goal is not in balancing, it's in integration. And I've heard of this term work-life integration, and I think that actually clicks to me more because I think it makes more sense. And that is because work-life integration to me means that you're not separating these two as separate entities that are kind of fighting for each other for a place in your life. And you're like constantly trying to balance these two things that's opposing. That is what work-life balance kind of means to me at this point. Whereas work-life integration means that you are actually combining the two and trying to find a harmony between work and life, which ultimately will lead to you living a happier and more fulfilling life. And here's why. When you integrate, well, in order to integrate your work and your life, I think the best way to do that is to actually find something that you love or stimulates you, that you at least like doing as your work. And therefore, when you're working on this thing, it wouldn't drain you so much mentally that you wouldn't have any energy left for when you go back home and you want to hang out with your friends or you want to do your hobby. Because I think what most people kind of struggle with is that if they're working a job that they hate or they just don't care about and they're only doing it for money, then in that case, yeah, they're always struggling to get a more life than work because they hate their work or they just don't like their work. And so when you find a way to do what you love as work, then you will naturally feel happier and more fulfilled when you're doing work. And you find meaning in that beyond just getting money. So I think that's the biggest thing about why work-life integration really appeals to me. And the second thought I have on this is that it is very natural for us to go through ebbs and flows in life in terms of the scale of how much we work versus how much we are living life. And yeah, that's super natural because if you think about it, right, when you're just out of school and out of uni, most people are just trying to find a foot in the real world and trying to build up their career so that they have a good foundation for their future. And so in that sense, it's super natural for everyone to be more focused on career and working more than they would ideally be. And yeah, I think it's totally fine because that just means that if you found something you love doing and you find meaning in doing that thing, then it's good to really focus on just trying to build that thing up. Because ultimately, if you really want to achieve something, I don't think there's any other way to do it properly than to just put in hours and put in a lot of work, all the reps, you have to do it. It's just the nature of being good at something. And so that just means that if you've understood what will give you a better life and a more fulfilling life in the future, then work on that thing. Work on it, spend time on it when you're young, and build up that foundation so that your skill will balance out to more life when you're in your 30s and your 40s and beyond, where because you have built up such a good foundation and a meaningful life, then at that point you're naturally just gonna be living life more than you're working. And so yeah, I think it all just goes back to doing the thing you love and aiming for work-life integration rather than work-life balance. And all that said, I think it's still very important to listen to your body because at the end of the day, I think as someone that, especially if you're trying to build your own business and not going down the traditional career path, I don't think I think everyone kind of definitely works more than they live life. And it is important to listen to your body's needs and just take breaks when you need it, because at the end of the day, we don't know when we'll die. We could die tomorrow, and if you haven't really experienced the joys of life at that point, then that's a shame, you know. That's if all you did was work, then that's also a horrible thing. And so I think the concept of work-life balance in the first place, it comes from a good place because the message that it's trying to send out is that we shouldn't just focus on work all the time and ignore our lives. But yeah, I think in order to achieve true work-life integration that is healthy and meaningful and fulfilling, you just have to listen to your body. You know, when you're working so much, when there's signs that you need rest or you need to take breaks and socialize and talk to your family and friends, then do that, because work is never ending. And if you're just so locked in all the time, it's also not healthy. So I guess, yeah, to sum it up, what I've learned from this whole journey with trying out work-life balance is that it's work-life balance is always going to be a struggle, whereas work-life integration is just a better idea, because that just means that you should find what you love and what you find meaningful to do as work, and therefore that will energize you more than drain you. And so when you go back home or you want to hang out with your friends or do your hobbies, then you will just naturally have more energy to do that, rather than when you're working a job that you really don't like and you hate and you're only doing it for money. Then there's just always going to be a struggle of you trying to balance it out, and it's a fight rather than just trying to live a full life as a whole. And it's also just important to take breaks and listen to your body and avoid burning out. And yeah, I think that's really my thoughts on it. And this is day 6 of me yapping to the camera. Bye.